Hello there. And I wasn't not sure if I'll put this video up, but I'm just, it's been a funny old day. Just been talking with some people in a group about the Lucy Letby case. And the request for leave to appeal coming up. Apparently it's been, the period that they're going to set aside for it is 3 days instead of the original, I think the original one. And the suggestion being that they may, if they decide to give leave to appeal, straight away hear the substantive appeal, the actual appeal itself. And then whether that would leading to retry the case, or if that was rejected, I don't know, but it seems to be somewhat of an adjustment from what people had originally imagined, that it was a one-day affair in which they decide yes or no, you've got leave to appeal. But now the suggestion is that it may also then lead straight away to a hearing of the substantive. I'm not sure exactly what substantive means in this case. Appeal, I suppose the essence of the appeal, to hear it itself rather than just ask for permission to bring it, if that makes sense. I think I have that right. So that's interesting. I've been thinking lately, because of some personal circumstances, about what some of these institutions are, what these organisations, institutions, services, whatever we want to call them, judicial service, institutions, systems. I've come to the conclusion that I think they're all psychopathic to one degree or another, and they choose to enact their psychopathy when it's appropriate for them to do so, mostly to protect themselves, but also to protect the powerful, and to go after the innocent, if it's the police, for example, and to protect the powerful, and to do the bidding of the powerful. And that makes them psychopathic. It's like they all have a personality disorder. I'd watched a video of Thomas Sheridan's earlier, in which he's sort of psychopathologizing the whole Irish political establishment and relating them to diagnoses in is it called the DST, the diagnostic tool that I think it's an American medical tool that they use. I'm a bit doubtful about that myself anyway, but it's a huge book of all these potential diagnoses that you can have, I think, to do with so-called mental illness and personality disorders, narcissistic personality disorder, etc., etc. And he's sort of going through some of the politicians in Ireland and sort of saying, well, what they're stuck with, and he says in the video he doesn't see a way out of it at the moment, that they're stuck with a bunch of people, and also for the reasons of consanguinity, I think that's the word he uses, that they've got generations of people that have been in politics, families and so forth. It's created these personality disorders and this, or they just have that, I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I think it certainly is housed within individuals, these kind of disorders, if we can call it that. You can also call it evil, you can call it demonic. But I'm thinking in terms of systems. I think, good people can be working in systems like the NHS, and the police is there to do good things to protect people, ostensibly, but the systems themselves could be psychopathic. So you could, and it's hard sometimes to get a grip on that, because people say, well, the NHS saved my life, it did this for me, and that can all be true, or the police really helped me in this situation. And that can be true in individual cases. But it doesn't change anything about the system as a whole and what it's capable of. And that was the other thing I was just trying to remember, talking to my friend about dealing with a lot of these institutions. I've been dealing with the police lately, and it is like dealing with an abusive an abusive partner in a relationship, in terms of the gaslighting that will go on in this particular case. Not saying in every case, not saying everyone, but there's a drift. There's an intention towards that. I think if they don't want either if they don't want to do something that they should do, or they're doing things that they shouldn't do or shouldn't have done, and they want to get out of it. But often, in my case, it's about not doing things that they should do, i.e. uphold the law. Uphold the law. That would be an idea. And the desire that can happen often when people talk about like relationships with people with narcissistic personality disorder. I know these are all kind of buzzwords now, but they talk about that the narcissist, the narc, whatever, will reframe reality to suit themselves. They'll change reality, and that feeds into this gaslighting concept, doesn't it? They'll reframe it, and I've been noticing that's been happening basically in my personal situation, a reframing of reality, and it's staggering how to the degree to which they can do it without any shame, without any because there is no shame there, because there's nothing there. And this led further into the conversation I was having with my friend about that all of these institutions now that are ostensibly, or what we believe are public services, public institutions, they're all corporate. They've all got the corporate essence to them. And as corporations, they are amoral, immoral. There's nothing governing them that's about soul. There's nothing there that would stop them doing a certain thing if they wanted to do it. There's no concept of God there. There's no concept of the spirit there. Truth doesn't matter. Justice wouldn't matter. Observable reality wouldn't matter. And that's why it's easy for them to reframe, in my case, my experience, turn it into something else completely different in order to avoid their responsibilities. Maybe this isn't making much sense because I'm not talking about the specific thing. I don't know. But I think this is what happens. This is endemic when you're dealing with all these institutions now, council, government, media, obviously, the police, the so-called judicial system. It's like you're dealing with corporations. You might as well be dealing with like Pfizer or a car rental company. It's that kind of... There'll be no conscience there. You're not. I'm not saying everyone who works there is of that nature, but they have to fit into that. If they stop fitting into that way of being, then they'd have to go. They'd have to become a whistleblower, or they'd have to go. It would become unbearable for them to do it anymore. And they can sort of let you know that they know, let you know that they understand, but they still have to do what the system demands, or they don't get paid. It's that old saying about you can't get somebody to understand something if their salary depends on them not understanding it. People can understand it outside of their role, as it were, but they can't be seen to be understanding it. But yes, anyway, back to Lucy Letby. I just made a note in this group that I sort of join in with online, that it kind of needs some kind of a miracle to work. And I think I mean by that those individual 3 judges, and I'm not sure how that works, whether it needs all 3 of them to agree that an appeal is worth hearing, as it were, to give leave to appeal, or is 2 out of 3 good enough? God knows, I'm not sure what that system demands, but it needs a kind of almost like some touch of grace from outside. And I said in my note, I think some people might think I'm daft, but I said from the angelic realm, something beyond the human in a sense, because these individuals, they're so stuck in those systems, so hidebound by them. They're stuck in a system in which they can say that, if I do the right process, if we do the right process, and you can say, well, I did the right process. It doesn't matter whether it's just or true or real or fair. I did the process. So you can look at it from outside and say it was all regular. Everything can be proved that we did the process. But what is the process? What's it made up of? But they don't want to look at that. They don't want to look at that. Or it's that the process itself can hide injustice, can hide untruth, can take untruth and injustice under its wings and be completely happy with that. And you can just say, I did the process. We went through the motions. That's the phrase I wanted to look for. We went through the motions of doing what we're charged to do. And so, where's your complaint? Where's your complaint? But it's not real. It's not real, and that's the. If you're looking at it in terms of personality disorders, that's the kind of thing you'd get with the narcissistic personality disorder, psychopathy, Machiavellianism. This thing they call the Dark-triad. You'd get that with all that. And these institutions embody these Dark-triad traits. And again, I just want to say, it's not to say that every individual works for them. Of course, embodies that. No, they don't. But they are to some degree, to whatever degree, subsumed within those Dark-triad traits. It just then begs a question about what are these systems? How have they grown up? On paper, they sound impressive. They sound believable. The judicial system, you can see people saying, "Oh, we're the envy of the world." I mean, it's just it's a load of blarney. It's a load of nonsense. Just keep saying that you're good at something. Keep saying something's correct. Well, it's like saying safe and effective, isn't it? As long as you keep saying it's safe and effective, it doesn't have to be safe and effective. It's just that it is said to be safe and effective. It's obviously not safe or effective, but yet officially it is safe and effective. Officially, 17 Middle Eastern guys with box cutters pulled off 9/11. Officially. But no, I don't think so. Anyway, dotting around all over the shop, but this probably might be a bit of a mixture of things. Just want a miracle to happen. What is a miracle, though? What is a miracle? It sort of suggests that this idea about individuals that have got power, that have power invested in them, are touched by something from without, something from outside, touched by some kind of grace, some kind of ability to be lifted above their corrupt systems that they're involved in, actually, that they rely upon to give them status and a good salary. Something else has to come in there, some other part of them which is either latent or they dare not usually show, but some courage, really, I suppose. But maybe the inspiration for that might come from some other source, from God, from the angelic realm, which is another way of saying from God in that way, I suppose. Might sound all fanciful, but I just think when these systems are so... There was this thing, I think it was a wife swap thing in America, and there was this woman, I think, quite funny, she became a meme, and she was very religious, and she went to she got swapped with this other wife that was kind of into paganism and like tarot and all that stuff. But the religious lady, she came back to her family saying, they're dark-sided, everything they're doing is dark-sided. Sounds like dork-sided. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Yeah, these systems are dark-sided. They're dark-sided. Or the centre of them is dark. The heart of them is dark. And they obviously won't admit that, even to themselves, especially if they're earning good money, being in them, and a good status, good position. So they can't say, well, the best they could do is say, well, I've tried to do my best within this system. And I've no doubt there are people that do try to do the best within the system. But if the system is rotten, then there's a real stricture and a limit on what that best can be, isn't it? And if power is involved from outside and above, telling you that you just don't make this happen, like in the case of Julian Assange, they choose the right judge to deny the appeal, an early appeal anyway. They just choose the right person for the job. That he's a safe pair of hands. He'll deny it, and that's the system embodied. That's the system showing its other face. I think there's that idea of the Janus face, the two faces of something, but I think it's more than two. Whatever that is, it's got many faces. A Hydra, something like that. All these systems have got many faces to them, and that's why it's so hard to get a grip on it. I mean, you're saying, is it good or is it bad? No, it's not. It's like the psychopath. It's like, I just watched something the other day about Ted Bundy and his younger brother, who was quite a lot younger than him, saying he used to really look up to his brother and really love him and love being taken on camping trips with him. And but it's really messed up his life, it seems, being related to Ted Bundy. And then he realised, he said somebody showed him a picture of this old camping trip where the brother was doing this trip with Ted Bundy. A fire's going, there's a little boy there, which is the younger brother. He's saying all those trips are worth nothing. They're worth nothing now because of what Ted Bundy actually was and what he did. And because of the victims, not worth one victim, obviously, and that's what you're saying. It wipes all that out. So why I'm saying that, because the evil that these institutions can do, I won't go into all of it, but I think we know what they're capable of in certain instances, and what they've been capable of these last 3 or 4 years, in terms of murder, really, mass murder. But then maybe that's another video if I ever do it. But it's not that it's new. I mean, loads of people are talking about it, of course. It's not that, but it's the kind of mass murder that will never be. Is the terrible dark irony that Lucy Letby is convicted for murders that didn't, not that they got the wrong person, but that the crimes didn't happen. And yet that same organisation she worked for are implicitly involved with many crimes, I believe, that won't even be called crimes officially, and will never officially be, nobody will be officially brought to account for them or convicted of them. But there we are, we're in a very strange world. I don't know, that in the Thomas Sheridan video, when I was talking about, he's talking about the Irish political establishment. He says, well, I don't know what we can do about it. I can't think of a way out, except for, I think it's the thing that a lot of people are saying, to sort of cede, to get away from the system, is not to fight it, not to try and improve it, because it's irredeemably corrupt, but to start a different one somewhere else. But where is somewhere else? Where do you go when they have, or seem to have, or have made us believe that they have full spectrum control of land, sea and air, basically? We mustn't believe that wholeheartedly, in the sense, otherwise we're sort of doomed, I know that. And they certainly don't have spiritual control. They're spiritually not even weak, they're spiritually a kind of a negative, aren't they? They're not. So maybe it's in that realm somehow that they will founder and destroy themselves and crash, because they're against nature, and natural law will deal with it. But that doesn't mean that we don't do anything. It should mean that, like I was talking with my friend, we started talking about, the idea of abusive relationships. What do you do when you're in one, or you end it to save yourself, don't you? You'd need to end it. You'd need to end it. But what is that in societal terms? What is ending it? I don't think it's revolution in the old style of fighting them. It's not that. It's something else. Not sure exactly what it is. Perhaps it's incremental. It is some kind of incremental moving away in some way. I don't know. It's strange old times, Anyway, that's my little thing. Take care. Bye.